Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the First World Manila Podcast. First World Manila, the brand that makes long term economic planning, urban development, and cultural revitalization interesting to a wider audience of Filipinos. And again, this is for as it pertains to Manila and the Philippines. Okay, um, Mabuhay, bienvenidos. Okay, my name is Ramon Rodrigo Calo Cuenca, CFA. I am the founder and director of First World Manila, and this is a podcast of First World Manila. Okay, today's episode is going to be about urban planning. Specifically, can you make money promoting Filipino culture? This is an interesting subject. How am I going to tie this with urban planning? You'll find out in a second. And for those of you watching on YouTube, you can see some pictures in the background of my screen, pictures which I will get to in a second. Okay, I'm actually going to get into it now. All right. So for those of you listening audio only, I have behind me on the screen here a bunch of photos I took this past Saturday. What happened was that I visited the Ronac Art Center near Greenhills Shopping Center, um, back this past Saturday for the first time, and I was really impressed. And I was impressed so much that I decided to do a podcast on it because I think it's a good example of how we can have some sort of urban planning and urban planning that is interesting. That makes you know our culture and also like our modern culture interesting as well. So, and I say interesting because like a lot of when I think of urban planning here and a lot of the times in Manila, in the Philippines, it's like a lot of it's just malls and like a lot of it's are a lot of it is restaurant chains and things like that. I mean, you go to one mall, you've been to most of them. I mean, there are a few notable exceptions, but in general, you see the same names everywhere, and it's kind of bad because, I mean, for me, that's kind of a manifestation of our culture and identity and our identity issues because there's nothing really tangible to see that is really ours. Even if it's modern, it can still have like a Filipino twist in it. So for those of you who have traveled, think of like Tokyo, for example. It's super modern, but you can tell it's authentically Japanese. And as we know, I mean, it's so difficult to get to Intramuros and Binondo that I feel like other parts of the city, in my honest opinion, they lack character. I mean, so I'm glad that there's something like this, which has a lot of character. And for people who think like, it might not be profitable or good business to put up something that really promotes our culture, because it's not a chain or a chain like chain of cafes or restaurants or anything like that. I think this is a good way to go about it so that there's sort of a return on investment for people. And I'm speculating here. I'm assuming that Ronac Art Center is profitable, but I think it is, and I'll get to why in a second. Okay, so I'm actually going to, for those of you listening on the audio only version of this podcast, I'm going to go through some of these pictures and I'm going to enlarge them now and talk about them in a bit more detail, starting with the actual outward appearance of the Ronac Art Center. So you see here, it's this kind of like modern looking building, and it's kind of, I mean, it just really sticks out. I mean, everything else around it's kind of nondescript, but look at the design of the building. I guess, and I'm not an architecture expert by any chance, or excuse me, by any extent, but I mean, if I was just to describe it to you, it looks like kind of like granite, and the windows are they're, gosh, what's the word? Squares with rounded corners. I'm blanking here, but anyways, I apologize for my poor vocabulary, but squares with rounded corners. That's the side that is the shape of the windows, and it's not all even. It's kind of like, you know what? If for all the comic fans listening, if you know the French comic artist Mobius, it's kind of like that. It's kind of his kind of look. So I wonder if the architect who built this building got inspiration from that. And you know what? I apologize for my Philistine behavior. Maybe this is part of an architecture movement that I don't even know anything about. And if you want to correct me and show how unsophisticated I am, feel free to comment in the comment section. Okay, but it just if you go there, look for the weird looking building that just really sticks out. I guess it's I'm estimating maybe 5 stories tall. But anyways, it's like you're on like you go into Greenhills Shopping Center from EDSA. You turn left. You take that overpass from EDSA going to Greenhills, and you keep going down. You drive past the Greenhills Shopping Center, and you'll eventually see um, the Ronac Art Center. Anyways, you guys have Google Maps. I'm sure you can figure it out. Okay, so that's the outside. And what was also interesting is that, and I have a picture. I'm pulling up another picture here. The front actually has like this fake like carinderia. Like it's really funny. Uh, like a sari store or whatever. And it's fake, obviously, but it's just cool that they have it there. And actually, the entrance of the entrance to the art gallery that is housed within the Ronac Art Center, the art gallery being called Secret Fresh, is actually behind this fake sari store type thing. So it's very interesting and unique. To this and to the side of the building, you have. Let me see if I can find a bunch of pictures here. You have like these. I guess it's a furniture store, or just like a place you can hang out, and uh, and some artwork as well. Um, and there's also a stair. I don't have a picture of it going up. I'm sorry, I don't have a picture of. Why is this on the wrong? Okay, here we go. I don't have a picture of the rest of the building, but there's actually a stairwell that goes up to this other floors of the building. So like on the ground floor is that carinderia and like and the Secret Fresh art gallery and like this I guess furniture store and hangout. Like see here you can like hang out here also like there's all this kind of there's like this furniture here and you can sit and hang out. Um, but on the second floor is like there's like a basketball court. So there are these girls playing basketball and it was pretty crazy. Like I mean look it looks so cool. Like it doesn't look like a nondescript like basketball court. It looks like again if I was to describe it and I'm really bad at describing it. It's a kind of weird style I was talking about earlier, but imagine it for the interior of the building. Yeah, so there's that. And above that is actually a mattress store. I didn't take pictures of that because that wasn't too interesting, but it's funny because there's all this artsy hip stuff, and then there's a mattress store like here. See, um, premium mattress gallery. I didn't go there and take pictures, but you get the idea. And I guess there's a design studio as well. So yeah, Ronac Art Center. I was really impressed. Anyways, uh, I visited this art center specifically because I'm networking for myself. I'm networking. Okay, so just to backtrack a little bit, for those of you who don't know, the reason why I'm able to run this brand is because I actually had two successful fine art exhibits last year. I hosted myself basically. The first one was in a co-working space called WeCube, and the second was in Manila House. And I was able to take the money there and kind of reinvest it to grow my brand. So, fine art is one of the main ways I plan to continue to make money from this brand. I mean, there are a few other things I'm working on this year. So once these other products are out, I will let you know. But for the most part, my main revenue stream right now is fine art. So I'm looking for gallery representation here in Metro Manila, and someone suggested to me Secret Fresh. So that's why I was visiting the Ronac Art Center because I wanted to go to Secret Fresh, which was actually having like, an exhibit launch this past Saturday. So it was a good way for me to just kind of go over there since I don't live in the area. I'm hardly there, but it was a reason for me to go all the way there to see the place and hopefully network with people there. And I will get to that. I will get to that in a second. Um, okay, so I'll show you pictures of the art gallery. it was cool because I walk in, there's this DJ, it's open bar, it's pretty awesome. And you look, it's very, if you look at the artwork and the people here, for those of you who are listening, it's very hip. But there are a lot of kids there. I guess kids being like, I guess people in their 20s and 30s, so I guess it makes me a kid too, but that's what I tell myself. Um, but yeah, it's a very hip and young art gallery, so it's not stodgy at all. But they're like some like even though it's modern, and you could say that a lot of modern culture and a lot of youth culture is very global, there's definitely a Filipino flavor to it, which is good. So which is why I'm saying, which is why in the beginning of this podcast I was talking about how we can have like a kind of young, hip, but Filipino type cultural stuff. Oh, so yeah, they're mostly a bunch of kids hanging out. Um, Check this out. This cool like what is this art style called? So like I've seen this kind of art style not just here in the Philippines, but like there are these dolls and statues and paintings. It's like super cute. I guess it's I have the name here. I started seeing this it's kind of like urban pop art. I believe let's see. I started noticing this art style with Takashi Murakama, if you know him. Like he did like Kanye West's the artwork for Kanye West's first few albums. So I guess since he got famous, like everyone maybe kind of copied him. I don't know. It's funny because I do fine art, but I don't know much about the fine art scene. But I see that kind of youthful like urban street art is definitely present here. Also, those are collectible high-end toys. Like you have all this stuff on display. These like super artsy high-end urban street art toys that you'll see. I guess again, people in this kind of movement I noticed are like Takashi Murakama, but you also have like Tokidoki Cows. Is that how you pronounce it? Kaws. Who else? I know there's a bunch of local artists here who also do this kind of style of art. Um, I think one of them is a girl named Yoka. I can't remember her name, but there's a bunch of artists here who are also part of this school of artwork. So yeah, all these cool like high-end art toys on display. Like even have like a mouse-shaped Homer Simpson, and all this kind of weird stuff. So it's cool. It's very modern. You also have photographs of like people wearing Supreme t-shirts, old people wearing Supreme t-shirts. I wonder if one of these is a founder. Is that James Jebbia? I don't know. Someone tell me this is a founder or not. I assumed he was because he's kind of an old guy wearing Supreme t-shirts, but I don't know. I'm not. Again, for those of you who don't know, Supreme is it's like it's part of I guess kind of streetwear culture. In fact, I would say streetwear is kind of becoming like the new like haute couture in the fashion world, and Supreme is one of those brands that really started it in like the 90s, and like they just got big recently. They've gotten so big to the point where you're seeing a lot of counterfeits. You see kids, a lot of kids there today wearing counterfeit Supreme T-shirts. So yeah, it's very very modern. This Secret Fresh. So I guess it makes sense why people told me. I mean, if you've seen my artwork, I mean, a lot of it's very manga influenced, or no, it's straight up manga, but and I do draw realistically, but my manga art I would like to think is for an older audience or a more sophisticated audience. So I'm not sure if it completely fits in with this gallery, but we'll see. Hopefully, I get some traction. Um, once I get represented by a gallery here, I will let you guys. You will definitely be the first people to know. Okay, so looking at some of the fine art that was being sold, there was one room here that had an exhibit. I guess I'm assuming by local artists of these like girls, Chinese girls. I wonder if the artist is from Ika or Xavier because walking towards the Ronac Art Center from Greenhills, I actually saw Xavier. So I wonder if this is like a Chinoy or Chinay artist. But yeah, all these funny Chinese girls. This whole part here was sold out, by the way, so it's pretty cool. Yeah, they had like a room for this one exhibit. It was all sold out. But this wasn't the one that was being launched. This was not the exhibit being launched this time around, this past Saturday. But I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, imagine a bunch of I guess oil or acrylic paintings of all these Chinese girls or chinitas wearing berets. Yeah. Okay. some of the art exhibit that was actually opening was a bunch of Filipino artists. Here's one of them. It's like 3D art. But it was a mix. It wasn't just like one person. So there's a bunch of different stuff. Let me just show you a few other things. Um, yeah, here's another artist. This one's more realistic than like the 3D art I just showed. Realistic in the sense of he's drawing a realistic looking woman, but yeah, still a lot of oil and acrylic. I noticed something about our artists here. It's very oil and acrylic heavy. I noticed for a lot of the artwork you do here. It's weird because like I personally work in water-based medium, so I use watercolor and acrylic, but water acrylic and like colored ink. But that's just me. Okay, so yeah, and I know some of these new paintings for this exhibit are already sold. So and I saw buyers there. So it's cool that this place is that the gallery is obviously making money, so they're doing well. Um, so so going back to the question of like, can we sell Filipino culture, modern Filipino culture, and it be profitable? I actually spoke to one of the owners of the gallery. It turns out he's part of a family that actually owns a building, so that helps a lot. So they can kind of do all this. I mean, obviously they still have to make, you know, I mean, they can even though they don't pay rent, they still have to think of the equivalent of it in terms of opportunity cost. But it's interesting that I mean, they definitely like took out a part of their building to um, really do something to promote Filipino culture. So it's even though they're taking the risk, because it's a very because running an art gallery is very risky. So it's great. I think it's fantastic, and they were smart because again they have the basketball court, the the mattress store. So they have more. It's sort of like there are more traditional stuff. There's more traditional stuff being that's underpinning this art gallery. So and they've been around since I think he was telling me 2010, 2011. So they've been around for several years. So I guess they're doing well. They were also selling merchandise, so like T-shirts and stuff like that. So basically, it's being smart about diversifying your revenue streams. If you want to like do something that's like pro Filipino culture that's not that's unique, and it's not like a instead of putting up like a Coffee Bean or Starbucks or another chain restaurant chain, you do something unique like this. I think it's really awesome. Speaking of food, I also it turns out that Secret Fresh Gallery and the Ronac Art Center actually put up both a restaurant and a cafe within the gallery. So let me just see if I can find some. So here's an example. Like you actually walk in, you actually see like the kitchen's transparent. You can see through a glass. You walk into the art gallery. You'll see on the left hand and center. You'll see like the paintings and like the little cafe. But on the right hand side when you walk in, you will actually see a restaurant called Carnivore. Meat is king, and see-through well, glass basically, so you can see the people cooking. So it's pretty cool. I didn't get to try the food for this restaurant, but I hope it's good. But it was cool to see them. It was so active and everything like that. It was just cool to see that. And again, it's kind of artsy too. They have this design. It's not just plain glass that's separating the kitchen from the rest of the gallery, but you have like this I don't know what you call this, but like these structures. I guess window panes, like modern art window panes. I don't know. I'm so sorry if I'm sounding so uncultured. Anyways, uh, okay. Well, I can't help it. I'm a finance guy. Sorry. Um, okay. There is a video monitor, which is pretty cool, and on the wall, and all this artwork. Um, it's just a fun place to be in. I went to the cafe, so the cafe I'll show you. It's actually like it's not really separate from. This is a front view. It's not really separate from the rest of the gallery. You just kind of you kind of sit there, and there's like a small like section where the people where they make coffee or their desserts, and they were also selling coffee machines By the way, this cafe and the restaurant kind of were just opened uh, when I that night, so it was pretty cool. I'm blanking on the name of the cafe, but it's really good. You should try it because I tried one of their dishes, which was frozen brazo de Mercedes. For those of you who can't see, it's like your typical brazo de Mercedes, but some differences is that uh, at the bottom end, what do they normally use for brazo de Mercedes? I think it's egg, but instead here they used mango ice cream. It was like half brazo, half mango ice cream cake. So it was interesting. It was really good. But they were selling that at the cafe and in the Secret Fresh Gallery. So it was it was fun, and I was very impressed. So I'm assuming they're profitable, and I would like more people to visit this place just because it's like I spend most of my time in like Makati and BGC, and I don't often see things like this. I mean, maybe in BGC because it's newer, but this was an entire building that just really stuck out. It was just like it was just so different from everything else in the area. So do check it out, Ronac Art Center. Okay, so what does this have to do with urban planning? When I saw this place, because I used to be a stock analyst in Singapore. I immediately thought about like a similar like youth-oriented place in Singapore, just off Orchard called Escape, something like that. And it's cool because it was very youth centered too, and they had like shops and all this cool stuff too. Uh, and like it was obviously planned by the government, as it always is in Singapore, and it just goes to show that like you could have like a government mandated like cultural youth centric center like this, and like obviously this Ronac Center isn't planned by the government, but like it exists. This kind of stuff exists in our city, in Metro Manila, so it's cool. Um, what was I going to say? It's it's great too because I was thinking like earlier today that like if you grew up here and like you just go to school or you go to work, you normally won't see things like this, especially because if you go to a mall, they're again going back to what I was saying in the beginning, they're kind of all the same. It's like the same tenants, the same chain stores. And it's just nice. It's like something like this is so different and out of the way. So yeah, to answer the question, I really think if you're smart enough and you diversify revenue streams, you can actually be profitable selling our Filipino, our modern Filipino culture and promoting the arts in general. So it's great. That is it for today's episode. Before I forget, today's Spanish-Tagalog vocabulary is ella. So that's siya for babae. Because remember, in Spanish, there's gender. So él is he or siya lalaki. Ella is she or siya babae. Ella. ELLA. Okay. That is it for today's episode. I will see you next week. If you like what you were listening to or what you saw, please think about subscribing. You can follow me on social media. You can just listen to this weekly podcast and download it from wherever you're downloading it from, or you can subscribe to me on YouTube. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.